What's up, YouTube? This is Eric again with a Hot Toys review of Loki. I'm gonna get straight off the bat and say that he is the number one. Okay, he's tied for number one figure of 2013. My opinion. You guys can have your opinion. This is mine. I love this. Only because I'm a huge Loki fan. And if you don't know why Loki is such a cool character, he's the definition of a misunderstood villain. Before the movies came out, there was a comic called it was called Loki, and Assad Ribic did the title, the Marvel Knights, I think, and it was the story of Loki and why he turned out the way he did. I checked that out. I think they have an animated comic on Netflix called Blood Brothers, Thor Blood Brothers. Check it out, and you'll see why Loki, well, I liked him way before that, but that was the best rendition of his story. So, other than that, let's get down to the review. Masterpiece. Okay, not a masterpiece. There are two things worth noting about this figure. The helmet, which comes in two pieces. Bottom piece, top piece. The bottom piece comes up to here, and you'll notice when you get it, or if you already have it. That's the piece that you stretch out a little bit and slide from behind his head over his cheeks. My problem is with the top piece of the helmet. When you put the top piece of the helmet on, it'll line up and butt against the bottom piece. Now, you might have, I've heard of many complaints, well, not many, but I know of many complaints that this piece, which it lines up to, is very loose and easily breakable. Now, if you see that little crease, crack, that is not supposed to do that. That is supposed to be one piece glued together. This is the bottom piece where it connects to this, the top piece of the helmet. Now, this is loose on mine. It's an easy fix. I can just glue that into place and be done with it and have no problems. But I'm not going to do that. I don't have to touch it because I'm leaving him with the helmet on and you can't see it and it doesn't bother me. Now, another thing worth mentioning on this figure is what I normally do with a boxed figure is any boxed figure, Hot Toys, Soldier Story, military, 3A, all those companies. Whenever I get a figure, I break them down right out of the box. Always, regardless of how good it looks, I like to reposition the clothes myself, just so I know how many layers I have on him, how I want it to sit on him. I highly recommend people doing that. Sometimes a lot of people will just take it out of the box, display it a little bit, flutz around with it just a little bit, and then display them. But to me, you don't know your figure until you've taken it apart. A lot of people are scared to do it. Don't be afraid. So, this is actually the only figure I did not have to take apart, and I'm glad I didn't. And I'll tell you why. Doing the research, since I didn't have to take it apart, but just curious, I found that underneath all these clothes, we see that Loki has hard plastic armor on top of his shoulder. I think they call it pardons or something like that. And what it's attached to if you're looking at it, you're like, how did they get that in there? Did they glue it to the fabric? Because the fabric goes along with it wherever you bend it. Now, he is set on a standard Hot Toys body. So he'll have that ball joint. Referred to the videos of joint manipulation for the Hot Toys figures. And he has the cut so that the bicep can spin from the shoulder. Now, that is kind of deemed pointless for this figure because this is attached to his bicep. Now, if you can bear with me, you see that in his outer bicep? That is a picture of the stub from that armor piece that someone had to break off just to get the suit off and the part. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you don't care and you're getting rid of it, or you're going to mod it into something else that you won't need it. I don't recommend it. You'll have a hole in the suit that's already there because of it. And you'll have a broken piece of the pauldron because you'll have to cut it off. It's glued in, so it's not going to get loose so easily. It's pretty well made. Okay, so I've taken it down to the point where I was satisfied on how the clothes laid on him, which was pretty close to out of the box already. Now, he came with a slew of hands, quite a bit of hands. You have his dynamic open hands and expressive hands. You have two closed hands, not fully closed, but gripping hands for his staff, his short staff and his long staff, which are really well made. They're light, but I like it. I never like when they're holding things that are too heavy. It causes too much stress on the joints if he's holding it up for a long amount of time, if you want to pose him for a long amount of time holding it up. His arm will eventually, in time, stay there, but really slowly start to fall. And then time itself will, and gravity will take its toll, and you go to position it again later on down the line, and it'll just be loose. Something to keep your mind focused on. Pristine condition. I try not to futz with most of my figures as much as possible. I'll repose them once every other month, if that. But I'll pick a pose. I'll stick to it. When I get bored, I'll pick another pose. But, I'm not putting them in extreme poses. I will never put my figures in extreme poses. I know what they look like in extreme poses. I know what they can do or how they look in the extreme poses. But I just like to keep the suit in as pristine condition as possible. Now, whatever material you're using, and you bend a joint, even if it's 30 degrees or 180 degrees, 90 degrees, 20 degrees, it doesn't matter. You'll see a crease in the fabric. Given a long enough time, that crease will eventually, you won't see the crease. Well, not the whole crease, but you will see small effects on it. And in time, those creases will degenerate and your fabric will start to weaken. And you're going to be like, it's falling apart. Well, what would you expect? People's clothes left in a crease long enough will do the same thing. You'll have that wrinkle. You'll have that crease. Now, you have his well-made handcuffs, which are kind of cool because the links of the chain are not like normal chains. They're actually very boxed chain link. I forget what they call this kind of chain link, but it's really cool. Almost like a necklace. It's really well linked together. Doesn't tangle easily. It'll always fall back to place. You got some weight on it. It's not too heavy. It's actually a little heavier than the staff. The links are actually, well, they look to be very light metal. They're not plastic, I can tell you that. He comes with 2 plastic daggers, although I've only seen him use 1. It's really nice. Actually, they're not even the same. They're 2 separate daggers. One has a hole in it. Right there. I know it's hard to see. You got the light reflecting back at the camera from the already shiny paint. They're supposed to be simulated metal because they're daggers. So, sorry, you can't get the detail, but let me assure you they're nice. And then you have the Hannibal Lecter kind of mount, the muzzle for Loki, so he can't cast any spells verbally on you. I like this piece. I actually would like to one day, just when I get bored of his helmet, put this on and reenact that scene of him being taken back to Asgard by Loki, Thor. Now, that is my review on Loki. Now, he's wonderful, and I'm glad I have him. Go get you one if you don't already have one, because I highly recommend it. Happy New Year's, guys. This is Eric signing out. Subscribe if you like. For those who have subscribed, thanks for watching, and for you who haven't, comment. Tell me how bad this video is, and tell me how bad you want Loki. Have a good one, guys.